Yello, and welcome back to episode 16. Episode 16 of our Final Fantasy Endwalker playthrough. So, just had some donuts. Just some standard sugar ring donuts, but donuts nonetheless. And then I have a nice hot cup of tea. Without our healing magics, there's little we can do for these people beyond offer words of encouragement. But this way, we'll be able to offer them more tangible assistance. Although this is hardly the solution we had in mind, it will have to suffice for the time being. This is... Ooh, I might be getting close to... no, the next dungeon should be 83. So we should be okay. We shouldn't hit level cap. They may change things, but typically speaking... 1, 3, 5, 7, 9... 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. So, assuming pattern holds, we'll get to the next dungeon before we hit level 84 quests. Jullus finds himself in a somewhat bizarre position of leading ambassadors of an enemy contingent on a salvage mission. We'll begin our search for civilian in Rigo Urbanistum. The first location is the Forum Solace, a park to the northwest of this station. You are to remain close at all times and act only as ordered. Follow me. Look at the difference in our speed because I took the time to do 4 or 6 fates. We zoom. Okay, where are we going? Just up here. Speaking of just up here, you guys can wait a second. Just wait there a second. I'll only be a second. Or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8. Possibly 30 seconds. To think the macabre graveyard for War Machina was once, or to think this macabre graveyard for War Machina was once a park. This is the place. So, this is the park. I'm surprised you found space for one among all these buildings. Actually, the recreational areas come first. The houses were built later, or built later around them. A healthy society requires communal spaces for children to play and adults to socialize. The park was named after the founding father of the empire, the great Solus Zegalvus. Did we come to extract ceruleum from the Vector Magitek armor? No, we've already drained it dry. Same goes for the rest of the machina in the vicinity. But our ceruleum has been stolen, and we must scour the city for every last drop. And while I don't expect to find any here, I've decided to try one more time in case something has been overlooked. I see. Then with your permission, we'll commence the search. Though rather small by Guardian standards, the structure is reminiscent of a market stall. Perhaps it was built for children to play at shopkeeper. There is nothing inside resembling Magitek or any other devices that would be fueled by ceruleum. Two things over there. A cursory inspection of the wrecked Magitek armor confirms the fuel canisters have long since been drained of ceruleum, as Jullus said. Is there another one over there or up there that I missed? Doesn't look like it. We may have to double back. Oh, hello there. I do not imagine there would be much need for Magitek in parks or in a park of all places, but then again, I wasn't raised in Garlemald. They may have some use for ceruleum that I've yet to consider. Dot dot dot. Jullus ignores you as he stares into the water in silence, as though searching for something he knows has gone and will never see returned. This, whatever it is, appears to have some sort of symbolic meaning related to the park. Even though the place is named after Solus, it doesn't seem to be a statue of him. Well, at least not anymore. Maybe it was once a fountain, or something the man himself used to sit. Not that it would matter, even if we knew, but I can't help but wonder. The contraption is built in the style of the Imperial War Machiner's armour in the battery of weapons and The contraption is built in the style of Imperial War Machiner armed with a battery of weapons and capable of transforming into different configurations. But on closer inspection, it appears to be no more than a children's slide. Fat finger in. There we go. Probably more accurately, my fingers just being in the wrong position, so we did miss something back here. Oh, up top. There it is. Several points of interest are marked on the map of Solace, map of the Forum Solace. The pond, children play area. To your knowledge, however, none would require the use of ceruleum. I hope this doesn't continue, because if it does, my voice or speech degrading. Oh, it's you. Any luck? There's no sign of any ceruleum. Hardly surprising, but disappointing nonetheless. I couldn't help noticing you gazing at the pond. Is something the matter? What? Yes, I mean, no, It's just, I used to bring my brother and sister here to play. The pond was heated to stop it from freezing over, so like all other children, they just had to wade in and splash about. Would have stayed there if I didn't drag them out. Would be sopping wet when all was said and done, every time. And every time when we'd get home, Mother would scold us, saying we would catch our death walking around like that. How is the pool kept warm? The pool was heated. The pool is still heated. With a ceruleum-powered heater, by chance? I suppose it must have been, come to think of it. I remember seeing engineers changing out the tank beneath the hatch. But that was a long time ago, when the water still flowed clear and wasn't this blackish muck. We can't see a thing, and I can't remember where the hatch might be. With the machinery most likely broken, the amount of filth in there is probably the only reason it hasn't frozen over. I'd wager it's still unbearably cold though. Julius, just what are your thoughts on magic? The average Guardian would jump over their skins if they saw it, but the first has a few foreign signifiers and medica, so it doesn't scare me. The sun coming up at this moment is probably very apt. Then I take it you won't mind if I employ a little now. Avano, as you have a knack for finding dry wood, why don't you bring me some? Once that's done, a blast of a fire should do the trick. Leave it to me. You're not planning to go in there, are you? Of course I am. That tank isn't going to fetch itself. It's nothing so involved as extracting unprocessed ceruleum from a frozen lake like how the tappers do it. We're talking about a shallow pond in a park. And we have a way of warming ourselves up after. But that's insane. So, fancy a dip? A little friendly competition might make things interesting. At last. The last thing we need is you catching a cold. Step aside where I drink the pond, step aside while I drink the pond dry. That way we'll find out in no time. No, let's go with the first one. Last one to find the ceruleum tank is a rotten egg, though I dare say we'll both smell like rotten eggs when this is over. She's already freezing. You delve into the murky water, become empty-handed. To add insult to industry, the icy wind dampens your clothes and chills you to the bone. Chilled to the bone. God be good, it's cold. Perhaps we should have listened to Julius after all. You delve into the murky water to add industry, blah 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 blah. This one's taking slightly longer. Nothing, one left. Beneath the water, your fingers catch onto what you think might be a handle. That would look more suitable if I actually was holding something in our hands. You open the hatch and retrieve a ceruleum tank. However, your grand discovery comes at great personal cost, as you have now become acutely aware of the freezing cold and rancid odour emanating from every arm of your body. Jullus will doubtlessly feel compelled to pinch his nose shut when you deliver him your prize. Chilled to the bone again. I found it, you can get out. You found it? There must be another one around here somewhere. Did you find anything, Sniff Sniff? I hope you did. Uncovering hidden treasures is an adventurer's bread and butter, though one is not normally required to go elbow deep in ice-cold, stagnant pond water to retrieve it. Nevertheless, many would choose that over mowing down hordes of slavering beasts or solving annoying puzzles. That's it. And there's still some ceruleum left. Ah, the fire's still not ready. Hold on, I'll give Alpha Noah a hand. Call me an Uldan, because because by fire I am reborn, and my clothes are mostly dry now. I appreciate you recovering the civilian, but I wish you had taken the time to discuss the plan with me beforehand. Despite the way you've been treated, in Lord Quintus's eyes, you're still envoys, deserving of protection. If you were to die on my watch, he would be most displeased. Your concern is duly noted, but all's well that ends well. Jullus, you mentioned coming here with your younger siblings. Did you grow up in Garlemald? I did, not far from here. My father was an accomplished researcher in his youth, and for his contributions to the Empire, awarded an estate. We lived well, better than many. What was Garlemald like in those days? Everything. It was everything you could imagine, and so much more. Even during the coldest winters, we always found warmth and comfort at home. Coming in from the snow, taking off your coats and setting down for a hot meal with family. Visiting friends and relatives, receiving that same welcome, knowing they had everything they needed. Walking down the street, seeing the lights in all the houses, hearing the faint sounds of laughter and song, of happiness. And although the summers came and went all too quickly, in the brief respite, the ice would melt and the forgotten grass would make its triumphant return. Grey clouds gave way to blue skies. Some mornings, we would climb to the top of the tallest building so we could watch the sunrise. Never again. Those rooftops are rubble, those friends dead, and those memories. But if I could reclaim even a fraction of what we once had. Soon, our chance will come. We just need to hold on a little longer. Well, at least my clothes are finally dry, although they could still do with a proper wash. Owing to the wealth of experience I've accrued in gathering firewood, I was able to provide Jullus with some basic pointers on the subject, though it may be or may help to further build a rapport and to distract him from his other concerns. Now that the fire is burned out, Jullus is ready to move on. Alright, now that you've recovered from your escapades in the pond, there is another location I'd like to search just outside the park. I'm not going to refresh these. They were only up because I wanted decent ways west. They were only up because I wanted a little bit of extra experience for my Gunbreaker. Everything was built on an enormous scale, and with thick, cleanly cut stone, much like Amarot. Given what we know now, such similarities are no coincidence. The War Machina appeared to be patrolling the area of their own volition. I wonder if it's simply following its original order, or if it now serves the Tolotheroi. As you can see, this place is littered with the remains of various types of War Machina. While my comrades and I have already recovered the tanks from the less damaged units, those that took more severe beatings are harder to scavenge. We decided to save those for another time, that time being now. Rather than prizing them apart piece by piece, it would be quicker to remove the outer casing using compact explosives. With luck, we'll gain access to the tanks without rupturing them. The force generated by these devices are relatively weak. I would advise you to stand well clear to avoid being hit by any shrapnel. Before even bothering, though, you should check the Machinist's civilian gauge to see if there's any left. It should still provide an accurate reading even when the unit itself is inactive. If the gauge is broken, I'll let you decide on whether to use the explosive or not. Should you need more, come to me. Understood. Let's get to work. According to the civilian gauge, this unit's fuel tank is empty. The civilian gauge in this use appears to be broken, giving you no way to determine how much fuel the tank may hold. If it's broken, we will try it. Target is not in range. Okay, we need to be near to it, and then we need to back away, presumably. After successfully removing the Warmacker's outer casing and receiving the civilian attack, you find it completely empty. The civilian gauge of this unit appears to be broken, given no way to determine what its tanks hold. Oh, we only have one left. Oh, there you go. I literally just did this. After successfully removing the Warhammer's outer casing and retrieving the civilian tank, you find it completely empty. Oh well, we're going to need to get some more. I imagine what we're looking for... Need some more? Here. I have a fair amount of explosives to spare today, but tomorrow is another story. We can't afford to waste them in units with nothing to offer, so be sure to check the gauge first. Of course, if the gauge is damaged, it's up to you to make the call. I imagine we are basically looking for one that is squirreled away somewhere and that is not out in the open. So inside a building, down a back alley, anything of the sort like that. Appears to be broken. Fuel tank is empty. You retrieve the one civilian tank and find it's still half full, or half empty, depending on one's perspective. Either way, Jullus will surely be pleased by your discovery. So we're only looking for one. And it was always going to be one with a broken gauge, so basically, take a guess. Or more accurately, depending on which way around you decided to go. More explosives? Wait, what is that? Not only did this tank survive the attack that disabled the war machina inside which it was stored, it also escaped the blast of your explosive unscathed. If medals for outstanding service were awarded to inanimate objects, this champion among civilian tanks would surely deserve one. Stuff like that is why it's a good idea to read the quest item, or at least glance at the quest item's text. Description text. You've done it again. Truly, luck is on your side. With this, we should be able to refuel quite a few of our heaters. It's time to head back. Wait, while you wait here while I go and see how Alizé and Alphano are faring. Waiting.
Finally escaped the watchful gaze of your keepers, have we?
Thancred is nearby.
Don't react. You'll only draw attention to yourself. Just carry on as you are and listen. After you left with the Garlean lad, Lucia bade a few of our scouts follow you at a discreet distance. We observed you being led into the station, but decided against venturing inside. When you emerged sometime later, and we saw that the twins were sporting Magitek collars, it was clear what had taken place. Now, as quietly as you can, tell me everything. The Legatus himself, eh? Now there's a surprise. This is also the first I've heard of a plan to join forces with the 10th and storm the Tower of Babel.
It was the 5th, wasn't it?
An interesting development. And perhaps the opportunity we've been waiting for. Our comrades back at the camp also received some rather promising news, but it's still too early to get our hopes up. For now, keeping yourselves out of harm's way comes before all else. Whatever demands the Garleans make, indulge them. With luck, this will all be over soon. Until then.
They had not gone far.
We searched high and low, but no luck, I'm afraid. I might have guessed you'd be the only one to find anything.
I wasn't expecting much to begin with. Eventually, there will be nothing left out here for us to safely salvage. For now, this will have to suffice. We should return to the station.
Were you wandering back on our own, or is it taking us there? It's taking us there.
Ah, there you are. Heard you'd gone hunting for ceruleum above ground. Brought back a king's ransom?
Hardly. But thanks to these three, we have enough to last a little while longer.
Well, well. It's not at all as I was expecting, these ones. For savages, they seem positively docile. It's a poor attempt at humor. In all honesty, I'm grateful for your efforts. But even with another night of warmth, there are those among us who may not live to see the morrow.
I trust your expedition was fruitful.
Lord Quintus!
Use what you procured to refuel the armor.
But, sir, what about the heaters for the camp?
The time for action is upon us. My men and I have matters to discuss. In the meantime, you are to wait here. Do not forget, you are being watched.
The time for action. What did he mean by that?
Had the 10th arrived? Or one of the other legions arrived?
I can only speculate. Clearly something requiring their Magitek, given what we just heard. Whether they plan to utilize it now, or after they join with the 10th, is another question. Will they ever escape this cold? Return to and reclaim the idyllic spaces of which Jullus spoke?
Jullus? Not Julius? Jullus. Silent J.
Finished your war, Council?
Alphino and Alizé are to stay here as our prisoners. They will be released once your comrades have relinquished their supplies and withdrawn from Garlean soil. Until our terms are met, they will be detained at a separate location.
After everything we've said and done, this is how you treat us.
Our allies have but limited supplies. They may stave off cold and starvation for a short while, but what then?
For now, keeping yourselves out of harm's way comes before all else. Whatever demands the Garleans make, indulge them.
Everything will be alright, have faith.
Get them out of here.
Well, Jullus, Alphino and Alizé will be fine, provided they do not resist. Once again, Jullus has been entrusted with an unenviable task. You will accompany back to your camp, where I will meet with your leaders and present Lord Quintus's demands. Before we depart, however, there is something I would ask of you. Assuming your contingent complies, the supplies they surrender would need to be transported here. That task falls to Legionnaires Marcusilius and Octavia, who will pilot Magitek armors to your headquarters. You are to inform them that we are leaving. You are to inform them that we are leaving shortly. Tell them to ask the Ili for further details. Those are the words. Once you've seen to that, meet me by the exit. You again. Ask the Illies, he said. So, that'll be the way of it. After all this. How ironic that you should be the one to deliver the news. If those are my orders, then so be it, for the glory of Garlemald. What do you want with me? Ask the Ili? So Lord Quintus has reached a decision. He knew we would, I knew he would understand that he would recognize the savage as a ruthless mercenary creature, and how to defend him. Me too must be uncompromising. I am. In the name of Emperor Varus, glory to Garlemald, I will fulfill my duty. I get the feeling he is making a preemptive attack to force us to attack back to conquer this place so that they can claim that, or so they don't have to claim that they asked for aid. I could be entirely wrong, but I think that's what's going on here. Have you done as instructed? Their duties involve more than transporting supplies, don't they? Duty is rarely a simple thing. We have been given additional orders, though whether we will be required to follow them depends entirely on your contingent. You and I are in this together. Now, like it or not, we have to cooperate. There is one other matter, a place I'd like to visit on the way to your camp. It's a short walk from here. Follow me. Oh, god damn you. Give me a moment, please. Wait here.
This is my home. Our home. At least it was, until that night. I was with Lord Quintus when the capital fell, and thus spared. My family, who did not own a radio, were less fortunate. When dawn came, I made my way here. My parents, my little brother and sister, they were still inside. But they weren't themselves, and they tried to. And I had to. I'd promised to take them away from the capital that very morning, to somewhere safe, to hide until the fighting stopped. I promised. The Garlean flag bears a chain, the bonds between our countrymen. A red link at its center, the blood of the fallen. Our loved ones who lived and died for Garlemald. But if she too fell, who would be left to remember them and their sacrifice? What enduring proof would there be that they were ever here? If we had turned to your gods, would they have saved us? I'm sorry, forget I spoke. We should go.
It's no use. Believe me, I do not enjoy being here any more than you. But he wanted us to play along, so that is what we will do.
so cold.
Painfully so. Unbearably.
I've been thinking about what Quintus said. About why no one would accept Garlean rule. Irreconcilable differences. When coexistence isn't an option, only conquest remains. Varus at Gimlet said much the same. Only by uniting the world beneath a single standard would we rid ourselves of the Ascians. United as one people, one race cleansed of imperfections. A cold and unforgiving vision. And when we fail to live up to their standards, what place is there for us in their world? But the truly sad, truly frustrating thing is how damnably similar it all is to the lofty ideals of Father and the Forum. Non-intervention. Always non-intervention. Protect our knowledge and our people, and to hells with the rest of you. And yet, I can see how it happened. Varus and Father looked to their elders for guidance and took their virtues as their own. But for this world was of their making. In who else could they place their trust? All of us lost in a sea of chaos. Searching desperately for purpose and meaning. But it shouldn't just be an extension of another's. It has to be ours. It has to be. We all have a stake in this world. No one should be silenced.
I won't deny that we lack the experience of people such as Father or Quintus. Perhaps they've come to see the world as a series of problems, and the most efficient way of solving them, to reduce everything to fundamental forms. A stone is a stone, a cloud, a flower, no more than that. Simple descriptions that strip the subject of distinguishing characteristics.
Bye-bye Aether current that I was going to collect after this cutscreen was done.
A man is a man, divided according to race, creed, or allegiance, and to some, defined by such associations.
Is that what you think?
In my misbegotten youth. But what I believed wisdom was no more than aggressive ignorance. I've since learned to look beyond the banners and the politics. To see people as individuals with their own hopes and dreams. As for my dream of building a better world, well, every day I'm reminded that it is far more complex than I had ever imagined. But it only spurs me onward, to find the wisdom and the strength to see it through to the very end.
All of our supplies and an immediate withdrawal. These are your conditions?
Demands. And you forgot about the airship. Once again, you will leave one behind. It will be used to return the prisoners. Their collars will be removed prior to the exchange.
So in the end, not even Father's expertly worded rhetoric could deter you from your chosen course.
Huh?
Not that I thought for a moment that it would. I've no love for violence, of course, but ours is a cause worth fighting for. I just wish he'd realize it too. Sometimes the only way to protect the ones you love is to take a stand. To refuse to suffer in silence. I want you to know I share your conviction. Whether it be on the battlefield or in the debating chamber, I won't back down. I guess what I'm saying is...
You've found your own reason to fight.
Yes. Yes, I have. God's willing, there will come a day when we can finally lay down our arms, and there will be peace. But not until the Telophoroi have been defeated once and for all. And you, brother, will have a vital part to play. By your words and deeds, you'll lead the way.
I pray I am up to the task.
There'll always be naysayers. Those who think us fools for even trying. It's easy for learned elites to criticize earnest efforts and assert their moral superiority, all without offering alternatives. Not that their sophistry has ever wounded you. So stubborn and strong. Stronger than you even know. Don't ever change, you hear me? If you stumble, I'll be there to catch you. Or give you a thick ear. Maybe both, for good measure.
Thank you, Alisaie.
Hello, Estinian.
The scouts have secured Alisaie and Alphino. Their collars were removed without complication as well. They report no casualties, not for their party nor the guards, who will wake from their premature slumber in due course.
It would appear the situation has changed. I propose new terms. We have information that will be of great interest to Lord Quintus, and I wish to speak with him in person.
No. In the event you rejected our first proposal, we came prepared with a second.
That is nowhere near enough to be able to...
More are coming! Make ready!
That's better.
We, the loyal soldiers of the First Legion, proud servants of Garlemald, of the fallen Emperor Varys, shall safeguard these lands from the barbarian hordes until our countrymen return! Stop! Both of you!
This child may be the worst emissary I have ever seen.
We received an urgent communication from the Grand Company of Eorzea. Envoys from the Imperial Army, led by members of the 10th Legion, came to Alamigo and requested an audience. They explained that their efforts to coordinate the reclamation of the capital with the aid of the 4th, 5th, 8th, and 12th had ended in failure. Communication between most legions has broken down entirely. Most of the 10th's conscripts have deserted, leaving their forces severely depleted. That is why, unable to continue the fight on their own, they and their allies turned to the Grand Company of Eorzea for aid.
Lies. Every word.
It is the truth, and I have not finished. The 10th has requested that we deliver a message to Lord Quintus. Have the ill stand down.
You have been listening, my lord? What are your orders?
Inform her that we will honor the 10th's decision. Bereft of hope, and now dignity. I release you from your duty. All of you. I take solace, your radiance, in the knowledge you are not here to witness our debasement. 'Twas a grand, glorious dream we shared. Of a world united, of peace and prosperity. We are ghosts, you and I, memories of days gone by. Bonds forged in blood that I will not see tarnished.
That's ominous.
Quickly! We have to reach the station before it's too late.
If there is still a chance that Quintus will agree to a truce, we must take it.
I just hope we get there before he and his men do something rash.
Too late. We're back at the main camp. We'll make no attempt to resist. Much more has occurred since we last met. As for determining what comes next, we must speak with Lord Quintus. That could be a problem. Well, we have to leave it there for today. Almost to the hour, so we will see you next time. Hopefully you enjoyed the show, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Cheerio.